The Champions League is finally back after such a long wait. In this video, we will be predicting the league phase table and where I think each club will finish inside the table. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's get straight into the video. So in 36th, I have Union Saint Gilloise. Now this is a super tough one to predict. Like, this whole league phase table, it's tough, but I had to go with Union Saint Gilloise in 36th place. Sure, they might be top of the league in their respective league, but they're also unbeaten in 6 games. I believe the Champions League is just a level above, and I think they might struggle a little bit. They're a team from Belgium. Usually they are underrated. They were underrated in the Europa League last season, but there's too much quality this year in this competition, and I think they will struggle quite hard unless they do prove me wrong, of course. Now in 35th place, I put Karabag FK. This team we have not seen much recently in this competition. Last season, I believe they were in the Europa League. They did quite horribly, finishing 36th, so dead last, getting 1 win and 7 losses, getting 20 goals conceded in 8 matches. It's pretty crazy. They also played a playoff game versus Ferencvaros and they won 5-4, which led them to being in the Champions League. So I'm not sure what to expect from this team, but let's see how they do. In 34th, I have Kairat. Now this is a new team being in the Champions League. First time in the club's history being in the Champions League, and that's quite a big achievement for them. How did they qualify exactly, you might ask? Well, they won on penalties versus Celtic. In their second leg, it was a 0-0 win. They went to pens and they won 3-2. Currently, they are playing in the Kazakhstan League. That's where they're from, and they're in second place. So a massive step towards the right direction for the club. They're looking forward definitely to playing in the competition, and I'm looking forward to see how they play their football in the highest European level that there is now. Hopefully they provide us with some upsets and some surprises as well. Now in 33rd, I have Paphos. Yet another new team has made it into the Champions League. First time in the club's history they have made the Champions League. Very big achievement for the club as well. They made it into the competition through playoffs, faced off against Sverna Zvezda, and they won that game 3-2 on aggregate. Sverna Zvezda are a club with lots of European experience, and this is a team coming from Paphos, Cyprus. That's madness. It's gonna be a big adjustment in level for them in this competition. Maybe we could see them as well, just like Kairat provide some upsets and surprises as well, because these new teams, they literally, I swear, they're very underrated. On 32nd, we have Slavia Praha. We have seen them in the European competitions for years. They are back for yet another year in the Champions League. At the moment, they are unbeaten in their respective league while also sitting in second place, which is very impressive. But last season in the Europa League, they finished 30th place, getting only 1 win, 2 draws, and 5 losses in that campaign. Last time they were in the Champions League was in the 1920 season, and they ended up getting 2 points when we had group stages back then. And I'm sure they will come into this season a lot more prepared than previous seasons as well. Move on to 31st, I put Sporting. This might be a controversial one, but they have been in this competition plenty of times. Last season they started well, but things kind of fell through because Ruben Amorim decided to join Manchester United around Christmas time, or before that. Their form completely dropped after his departure, and that surprised me honestly, because I thought the players would really push through that, but I guess the manager played a very key part in that team. Now they kind of have regained their form this season, sitting in 3rd place in their respective league with only 1 loss, which is key, but they have lost a huge player from their team. They lost Gyökeres, a player who banged over 100 goals in the past 2 seasons for them, and that's a big miss. Sporting have replaced him with Luis Suarez, not the one from Barca, or who used to play for Barca, by the way. For some reason, I have a feeling they will struggle in this competition yet again. Moving on to Bodo Glimt in 30th. This is a huge achievement for Bodo Glimt, being in the Champions League for the first time in their history. I believe their journey into this competition is quite crazy. They all started last season in the Europa League. No one saw them going as far as the semi-finals and losing to the champions Tottenham. Now this team is super strong at home. They win by some insane scorelines. They won 5-0 versus Sturm Graz in their final playoff game, and they qualified on a 6-2 aggregate score. Very underrated team, honestly, and I'm excited to see them play in the Champions League. Now in 29th we have Olympiacos. This is a team we have seen in Europe many times. Past few years they have not been able to get into the Champions League, but last season in the Europa League they finished 7th place for the league phase, which is pretty good, but they just made it as far as the round of 16 and they lost 4-2 to Bodo Glimt. Now the owner of this team is actually the owner of Nottingham Forest, but they have made some quality signings. They have quality players as well. Taremi, Daniel Podence as well. Gonna be very interesting in this competition. I wonder how they will get on in the competition. I think they finish in 29th place. Now in 28th we have Copenhagen. It looks like they are back in European football after missing out last season on Europe, which obviously sucks, but now they are back in the Champions League, which is huge. Copenhagen had to go through Champions League playoffs and they faced Basel in their final game and they won 3-1 on aggregate. Cornelius getting a goal and also Mukoko in that second leg. I did not know Mukoko plays for Copenhagen, but yeah, he's back in the Champions League. Before he was playing with Dortmund, now he's back with Copenhagen. That goal from Mukoko just sent them through to the Champions League, and I do believe it might be a little bit of a struggle for them coming back into the competition after a few seasons. But moving on to 27th, we have Ajax. Ajax have been struggling the past few years without Ten Hag, but last season they made it into the Europa League. There they finished 12th place within the league phase. Sadly got knocked out by Eintracht Frankfurt on a 6-2 aggregate score, but now they are back in the top flight of European football. Got so close to winning the title in the Netherlands, but they lost out by 1 point to PSV last season. Davy Klaassen is a key player in that midfield. I've not heard that name in such a long time. Last time I heard that name, he was playing for Everton. But Weghorst that started the season well in the Dutch league with 3 goals in 4 matches. So I'm very interested to see how Ajax will play in this competition. In 26 we have Benfica. Last season I would say they were a pretty underrated team, like that Juventus versus Benfica game. That was a high scoring, very great game. I believe it ended like 4-3 or something. And in the Champions League they always provide great games. I think they're one of the most underrated teams in this competition. Always come out with some surprises. They play some decent football as well, which is a plus, but they're sitting in 4th place in the Portuguese league at the moment. So I think they always show out in the Champions League, so this is a team we should look out for. But personally, I think they finished in 26th place. Moving on to 25th, Club Brugge. And Club Brugge are a regular in this competition. They always seem to pull out some surprising results. And how did they get here? They got here by playing a Champions League playoff game. They played Rangers from Scotland and slapped them up 9-1 on aggregate. Unbelievable. This team has a lot of veterans. I believe Van Aken is a player that still plays for Club Brugge, but they have lost a player like Talby to Sunderland. He was a very key player in last year's campaign in the Champions League. But overall, this team, it could provide a lot of surprises, just like we saw last season in the knockout stages. But let's see how they do in this competition once again. In 24th, we have Athletic Club. They have been in decent form the past few months. Last season in the Europa League, they finished second in the league phase, so maybe I'm going a bit too low for them here. I think they will struggle because, as I said before, there's so much quality in this competition. They made it to the semi-finals, but they got slapped up 7-1 by Manchester United. That is a crazy result. Inaki Williams and also Nico Williams playing for this team, those two are players to look out for. I think Nico Williams, he's kind of dropped off a little bit since the Euros. Inaki Williams, I haven't heard about him for a while, but those two players are brothers, so maybe they could ball out for Athletic Club and pull out some wins possibly. Now in 23rd we have Leverkusen. Ever since Xabi Alonso's departure, it's gone downhill. Xabi Alonso got the unbeaten run there. He won the double as well with the club, won the league for the first time in like quite a while. But then Ten Hag was appointed and they have sacked Ten Hag 2 games into the season. Ten Hag has had the best track record as of recent. Like Man United, he was sacked. Now at Leverkusen, he's sacked. I mean, he's not doing a good job as a coach so far. But they lost Wirtz, Nkapi, Frimpong, and many others, which is quite tough. Those are all some very key players, but I feel like they are set to struggle this year in the Champions League with a new coach coming in, and also just losing their key players is something that's going to be tough to deal with. Now in 22nd, I have Villarreal. They are back in Europe for the first time in years. They have gone through some down times in the past few years, but they finished 5th last season, which is huge, which put them in the Champions League. But they have some solid players like Nicolas Pepe, Thomas Partey coming in from Arsenal, Nikola Tuedze, the Georgian who balled out in the Euro 2024 competition, and Buchanan, the Canadian player playing for Villarreal. He's been pretty decent so far as well for them, but those are players to look out for, and then I think this team could be a underrated one in this competition. Move on to the 21st. We have Eintracht Frankfurt, another team back in the Champions League, first time in years. And last season they came off a good run in the Europa League. They did lose their quarterfinal match versus Tottenham. It was a rough one, but they have lost some players from last season like Marmoush going to Man City, and Ekitike going to Liverpool. Ekitike has started very well at Liverpool, so that was a great signing for Liverpool. But Eintracht Frankfurt, they have like Götze is the only player so far that I know that still plays for the club. But overall, football wise, I think they play some nice football. I'm excited to see them back in this Champions League campaign. Now in 20th place we have Galatasaray. This Galatasaray team, I think it's going to be quite underrated. Surprisingly, last season in the Europa League they finished 14th place in the league phase. They did not go too far in that competition as well, which is unfortunate, but they do have some very key players. I believe they have Ziyech. Osimhen was leading the line. That guy could be quite dangerous in the Champions League. As we saw with Napoli when he was there, he was just banging goals left, right, center. He was doing the same for Galatasaray, so keep an eye on Osimhen for sure. Moving on to PSV. PSV are yet another very underrated team in this competition. Now, last season they did pretty decent in the Champions League. Some standouts were Pepe, the American, I believe. Perisic at his age is doing quite good as well. Saibari was a player who just balled out in that competition. He surprised us a lot. I believe he banged a hat-trick in that Juventus game, possibly. It was like PSV versus Juventus, a very high-scoring game, but this team could definitely make a comeback. I just sense them having a little bit of a worse season than last year. Now in 18th we have Tottenham. Now Tottenham are back in the Champions League, qualified through winning the Europa League. They have brought in some very key players in this summer window. They have brought in Xavi Simons, who's a top talent coming in from RB Leipzig, 21 years old as well. This guy is one of the most exciting attacking midfielders in the world at the moment. Kudus as well, being incredible at taking his man on. He's got the pace as well. His ball control is amazing. Pause. Now Kolo Muani as well. Honestly, the only highlight from him, a lot of people are saying, is that France versus Argentina 2022 World Cup final. That miss that he had against Emi Martinez, but he's been doing well ever since his Eintracht Frankfurt days. He's gone to PSG. He hasn't had the best run over there, but he moved to Juventus, where I haven't seen him play too much, but hopefully he does well at Tottenham. Now, Thomas Frank as their new manager as well. It's the first time in the Champions League for him. It's gonna be definitely a learning experience for Tottenham, but I see them placing in 18th place. Now in 17th place, I have Newcastle. After years, Newcastle are finally back in the Champions League. They're looking pretty decent based on last season. Defensively, one of the best at the back in the Premier League. That low block is a nightmare to play against, or that mid block as well. They brought in some amazing signings. Wissa coming in from Brentford, coming off a season with 19 goals. Woltmead, a very exciting talent coming from Stuttgart. Elanga coming from Nottingham Forest, and Ta coming from AC Milan. So I think they're gonna help this team massively, and I just have that feeling that they're gonna follow Wissa and Woltmead up top. So West is going to be more of the player who could play the ball at his feet. Woltmead, this guy's 6'6" with incredible technical ability. So I'm definitely excited to watch him play for Newcastle. Moving on to 16th place, I have Juventus. Another team back in the Champions League again. And Juventus had a decent season last season. They did struggle a little bit, but they have been looking for the in and out goal scoring striker who could get goals over like 15 to 20 goals a season. And they have found themselves a new striker in Jonathan David. He's a proven goal scorer in this competition as well. That is so key for them. He was one of the top goal scorers in last year's Champions League competition, so maybe they kept an eye on that. But yeah, I could see them doing a lot better this season, especially with the squad that they have. And in 15th, I have Marseille. Marseille are back in Europe after a couple seasons off. This team, they have a pretty solid squad. They have a manager, and Roberto De Zerbi, who is a great manager. He's done well at Brighton. He's done well at FC Shakhtar, where he was before Brighton, but he's got great talent with the likes of Aubameyang, quality player. Greenwood has been balling out under him as well. Pavard has moved to Marseille. That's a pretty solid player right there. I'm really interested to see how they manage to do in the Champions League. Knowing De Zerbi, his style of football is very entertaining, but he also gets the results when he needs to as well. Move on to 13th, we have Napoli. This one is a very interesting ranking for me, but I just have a feeling Napoli will finish in 13th. Napoli coming into the Champions League as Italian champions. They were very strong last season as well, one of the strongest teams in the Italian league. And they have some unreal players. They have now signed KDB coming from Man City, so an elite playmaker who could also score goals. Lukaku, great hold-up player, great striker as well. Run in behind is very dangerous. McTominay, who's completely transformed himself in this team, moving from Manchester United. That was a good decision from him because he won the MVP award last season. Now, lots of quality around the pitch, but then you have Conte as your manager. So yeah, it's pretty crazy if we're being honest. Now in 12th place, we have Atalanta. Atalanta are back in the Champions League as usual. Very underrated team. Last year, they just placed outside of the top 8, finishing in 9th place. But the way they played their football was very unique, and it worked very well as they had Gasperini as their manager, but now he has gone to Roma, so now they have a new manager, and I'm wondering how he will set up the squad and how well this team will do. But they got quality as well at this club. Lookman is in that team. I remember that Europa League final hat-trick. He literally carried their team right there. Ederson as well, the center mid, out the keeper. He is a quality player, break up the play, but could also go forward, score goals as well, get assists. The Catley are fantastic. Hold the play, he could turn a player. That guy is a amazing talent. And many other players are in the squad as well. But with the new manager, it might be a little bit of a different season for them in the Champions League. Moving on into number 10, we have Atletico Madrid. Always a team doing well in this competition. Diego Simeone has them doing well consistently. They can either play a low block and a counter style of play, or more free-flowing and scoring type football. Very adaptable squad, but this season so far in the La Liga, they have had a horrible start, actually sitting in 17th place at the moment with 2 draws and a loss, which is not ideal. Julian Alvarez has been balling out for the club, so I expect them to do the same in the Champions League. Now in 9th place, Chelsea are back in the Champions League, coming off winning the Conference League and the Club World Cup, while also finishing in 4th place last season, which secured their place in this competition. Now Maresca's team is looking quite dangerous, I won't lie. Attacking wise, they look like a absolute force with the likes of Palmer there, João Pedro being a new signing. He's fitting the team very well. Pedro Neto coming in. Jamie Gittins is a fantastic player, taking on players 1v1 on that wing. His burst of pace is incredible, but currently they are sat 2nd place, undefeated in the Premier League, so definitely a team to look out for. They are definitely on form. Now in 8th place, I have Bayern. This Bayern team is one to look out for as well this season. Their attacking power has just gone up a level this summer, bringing in Luis Diaz, who is a very talented, skillful player from Liverpool. Now that front 3 of Kane, Diaz and Elise is gonna be a problem. That's probably one of the best front 3s we have in the whole competition. But defensively, they have brought in Jonathan Tah as well from Leverkusen. That strengthens them defensively as well, so this team could be a force in this competition. Now in 7th place, we have Manchester City. This Man City team is looking quite good. Quite a few new players coming in this season. Reinders, Donnarumma, Cherky, Trafford, Aït-Nouri as well. They just needed to get the players for those exact positions. So like keeper, left back, center mid, cam, and yeah, they got them. But I believe they might be trouble this season. Seeing their squad on paper, it's looking absolutely incredible. The depth they have is something else. But then you have Pep Guardiola coaching them, and yeah, it's gonna be quite a long campaign. I think a youngster that we need to keep an eye on this season is Oscar Bob. The way he takes on men makes it look so easy, so that's a guy we have to keep an eye on. Now in 6th place, we have Inter. Placing Inter here might be a little bit controversial, but they have lost Simeone and Inzaghi, and many players are aging as well, but I still believe the players will still perform to the same level as last season. They still have players who could change a game, like Lautaro Martinez, Barella. Dumfries was very good for Netherlands, and he's been very good recently for Inter, but it all comes down to the manager's tactics, but the players on the pitch as well. I'm not sure how Inter will set up this season, because usually against many teams last season they set up in a low block, as that's what Simeone and Inzaghi instructed his team to do, and it works very well. They got very far in the competition, but this season I'm sensing possibly a more attacking team. That's just for me, but let's see what happens. Now in 5th place, I have Arsenal. I believe this is a fair spot to put Arsenal. Last season they did well, beating Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, but then facing PSG in the semi-finals, and they got knocked out. But Declan Rice banging 2 unreal free kicks back to back against Madrid. I was going crazy after those, but Arsenal were a very strong side last year, especially defensively. This year they might be stronger offensively, especially since Gyökeres has now joined. We have Eze coming in, Zubimendi coming in, and we've been waiting for a striker, and we finally got a top striker in Gyökeres, so hopefully he bangs some goals in this competition. Now in 4th place, we have Real Madrid. I think this year will be different for Real Madrid. They have a new manager in Xabi Alonso, who has done well for Leverkusen. He is known for going undefeated with Leverkusen in that season. That's an incredible achievement, but he'll know how to utilize his players to the best of their abilities. I have a feeling Mbappe, Vinny, and Arda Güler, who plays the cam position recently for Real Madrid, they will be super key offensively. Like Arda Güler, some of the passes he makes, some of those long balls he makes, absolutely incredible. The vision on that guy is something else. Like, he deserves to be starting, and Xabi Alonso sees it. So let's keep an eye out for this team. I think they will be back on top this season. And in third place, I have Liverpool. I think Liverpool will have another good league phase. Sure, they might have a lot of new players, but I think they will adapt slowly into the new system. Like, they brought in Wirtz, Ekitike, Isak, Kirkic, Frimpong, but Frimpong's out for quite a while. I think they will do well, and they will be key players for this team. Isak in that team alongside Salah. Like, what are we doing there? That is just out of this world attack. Like, what? But if the chemistry continues to improve, this team will be very dangerous. And you're looking at a front three of Yakpo, Isak, and Salah. I won't be surprised if they finish first, but I think they will finish third in this league phase table. Now in second place, I have PSG. I can't miss out on putting PSG amongst the top rankings. So they just came off last season winning a quadruple, I believe. Unbelievable scenes, like tactical, unreal from Luis Enrique on the pitch. The quality of the players is crazy. Technical ability from this team as well is something else. Ousmane Dembele balled out last season. I think he's gonna win the Ballon d'Or probably this month in September. Unfortunately, he is out for 6 weeks, which is a big blow, so he's gonna miss the first few games of the Champions League. But yeah, this team is gonna be up there again amongst the best. Now in number 1, we have Barcelona, and Barcelona, I just have this feeling that Barca is gonna be a better team this season. The way they were moving offensively last season was unbelievable. That was probably some of the best football I've seen from them in years. Now defensively, that offside trap works so well, but a lot of teams might have figured it out, so Hansi Flick has to keep an eye on that. But Yamal, Lewandowski, and Rafinha, I just know they will pop off once again. Adding Rashford into the mix as well could really make the attack go even more crazy if Rashford decides to turn up. Now Pedri in that midfield, just controlling the tempo, creating and chipping in with goals. That guy is just the best midfielder in the world at the moment. But this Barca team is going to be so dangerous once again. So yeah, that's my ranking right there for the Champions League 25-26. Those are my predictions from all the way 36 to 1st. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Don't forget to drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.